I'm Darren from Akshon Esports, and this is Action Recap, the show where we cover various ongoing stories in the competitive Overwatch community. Over the weekend, the Esports Awards saw Overwatch win in categories such as Esports Game of the Year, but there was a particularly questionable moment when the Overwatch League Grand Finals were given the Esports Event of the Year award over their competitors, notably League of Legends Worlds 2018. The sentiment across the board is that while it is impressive to sell at the Barclays Center, the audio issues during day one and the flop that was the DJ Pallett performance should have been more than enough justification for the League of Legends event to win, which featured amazing promotional material, live performances, and excellent execution. In addition to the poor audio during the live stream, those running the event had another mishap when Bren was accidentally shown on stream when Uber was the one that won the Esports Broadcaster of the Year award.
Brandon Smith and Richard Buckley.
We're going to throw back over to Tom and the desk just before we jump into this.
Uber.
In terms of actually supporting the rest of their team and pushing them forward with their sheer momentum.
While he graciously accepted the award, Uber later tweeted, quote, "I would have been just as affronted, if not more, if this happened to a colleague of mine. All of us in esports broadcast work very hard, and it is disheartening to see an oversight like this at an event designed to celebrate all of our hard work." And then, in what was probably the worst part of the night, was when Deji, yes, the one you might know as KSI's brother that lost to Jake Paul, was the one who presented the award for Developer of the Year, going off script, saying that Epic Games had won, only to reveal it was a joke and that Blizzard were the real winners. This made things embarrassing not only for the Epic Games representative, but also for the person from Blizzard, who had to awkwardly go and accept the award in the aftermath of this playful debate.
Well, this award goes to Epic Games! No, I'm joking. It's a joke. It goes to Blizzard. Well done, Blizzard.
If those behind this event want their award show which honors the work of professionals to be taken seriously, then they should really start trying to put on a more serious production and avoid these mistakes and conduct themselves far more professionally. Now for the main story of today's video, we will be going over the events that have unfolded with Toronto Esports. For those that don't know, Boston Uprising's Overwatch League Academy team, Toronto Esports, is no longer affiliated with the Boston Uprising. A representative of Toronto Esports tweeted that the organization is exiting Overwatch immediately in a rather flippant manner. The tweet reads, quote, "We have been informed by Blizzard that we will be forced to remove Toronto from our brand in only 6 weeks, mid-Contenders Season 3. The reason cited, Toronto Defiant have purchased exclusive naming rights. We will be leaving Overwatch effective immediately. Good riddance." While it is understandable why Blizzard would make such a demand given how there could be confusion with the branding efforts of the Toronto Defiant franchise and there being possible confusion with affiliation with Toronto Esports, the organization states they have reached out to Blizzard to confirm their stance on the naming matter but are not optimistic. Now, it would have been fine to end things here, but Toronto Esports proceed to criticize Blizzard, calling them incompetent at how the Tier 2 scene has been managed. This was a move that has earned them backlash from the community, who have commented on the organization's overall lack of professionalism and how they conduct themselves publicly. Leading up to this unexpected announcement was a series of tweets back and forth between Dr. Ryan Pallett, a family physician who is the founder and president of Toronto Esports, and members of the esports community. It all began with a tweet from Toronto Esports challenging the Defiant to a match last month to determine which org had the city's best Overwatch team. As an off-season event, the idea was sound, as it is similar to the efforts of the Californian-based teams to keep rivalries going and engage with fans. But it was simply how things were conducted that earned Toronto Esports replies of how cringe their efforts were in going about setting things up. As the Defiant declined to respond to the challenge, the person behind the Toronto Esports Twitter account became increasingly aggressive to the point that some would describe as badgering with nothing much to gain. Stylosa and Twitter user Norsetto paints the scenario aptly with their response in a thread on the matter, with the former writing, quote, "I'd be surprised if it does. The Overwatch League team has essentially nothing to gain. They lose, people will hate on them for being trash. They win, nobody really cares." Toronto Esports replied that this is something they want to arrange for the community before eventually blocking the YouTuber. But the back and forth replies kept on going with no real resolution until things escalated when former Shock analyst Harsha commented on how Toronto Esports had some of the cringiest social media presence in all of Overwatch. This opened the floodgates for Cloud9 social media manager Mateus, who posted images of Toronto Esports' efforts to contact him in a rather unprofessional manner, asking who he was and why he would be opposed to a show match, along with how it was a bit embarrassing that the org's president is the one taking care of social media. That last comment triggered an unexpectedly aggressive response, with Pallett clapping back, writing that Mateus was the real embarrassment for not responding to the aforementioned message, to which he was met with being exposed of his rash nature, and even further in the following screenshot of their conversation that was made public shortly after, featuring the president of Toronto Esports accusing the latter of being a coward and allegedly attempting to run a smear campaign. A fan of Toronto Esports who reached out to the management of the org as they were concerned about this behavior on social media, but was met with an equally inappropriate response from the owner, with the conversation breaking down to the organization only caring and bragging about how much engagement they've been getting on Twitter as the only thing that matters, and goading the fan to unfollow them on Twitter. There is a difference between how you act while representing your professional organization and being able to recognize that this isn't your personal Twitter. This incident goes to show the importance of having social media managers who are able to properly act as the PR for a team. But more importantly, we can look to this case as an extreme example of how there are some people in esports who really shouldn't be in positions of power, especially now that the industry becomes increasingly professional, growing in parallel to traditional sports. Building up an esports organization is a tall order, but it only takes a few missteps by the right people in your organization for it to completely implode on itself. But now the question stands, what does the future hold for this org? Toronto Esports did some PR repairs, writing that they will ensure that the members of their Overwatch team will be taken care of, and now look to potentially expand into Fortnite or CSGO, stating that they really believe those two games really understand esports. But that's all from us. What do you make of this crazy situation? It's clearly a case of someone going a bit too personal on a professional Twitter account for an entire organization. But what should have been the right points to stop? Or should the community have reacted any differently in hopes of stopping this conversation from going where it did? As always, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and share, as it really helps out the channel quite a lot. Otherwise, be sure to subscribe and follow us on Twitter if you want to stay up to date with all of our content, and hit that bell to stay notified. This has been Darren from Akshon Esports, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.